A testimony of faith through a gauntlet of unseen terrors. I stand as a witness, my heart pounding like a war drum in my chest, my soul laid bare, to testify of a journey through a world where the boundary between reality and nightmare frays like a tattered veil caught in a chilling, unnatural wind that howls with whispers of eternity. My soul feels like a lone ember flickering in a vast, star choked void, trembling under the weight of forces both radiant and malevolent, some glowing with the promise of salvation, their light a steady beacon piercing the darkness, others snarling with a primal malice older than the galaxies, their forms lurking like shadows cast by forgotten horrors that claw at the edges of existence. The ancient psalms, those sacred cries of desperate souls poured out by prophets and seers, burn in my mind, their words entwined with elusive whispers of forbidden truths, apocryphal echoes, and shadowed knowledge that pulse with a power too vast for my fragile mind to fully grasp. These are my anchor, my only light, guiding me through a twisting labyrinth where divine glory and unspeakable terror collide, where God's hand, blazing with relentless light, grips my trembling life, even as the darkness writhes to consume it. I share this now, a raw account of suspense, dread, and unanticipated horrors, a story of faith tested by nightmarish twists, where God's unyielding light pierces a suffocating abyss, etching his truth into my very bones, culminating in a vision of the New Jerusalem's eternal radiance. Lord, be my refuge, I whisper, my voice shaking, knowing only faith can shield me from the terrors that stalk me, their screams echoing through the night. The night was no mere absence of light, it was a living entity, its cold, damp air clinging to my skin like the breath of something ancient and ravenous, its touch sending shivers down my spine, as if the darkness itself were trying to seep into my bones. I knelt in a forsaken grove, where twisted trees loomed like skeletal sentinels, their gnarled branches scraping at a sky roiling with clouds that pulsed with an eerie, sickly green glow, as if the heavens were infected with some cosmic rot that threatened to consume the stars. The air reeked of wet earth and decay, a sour stench that crawled into my nostrils, hinting at something dead and restless buried deep beneath the soil, a secret the earth seemed desperate to hide, its roots curling around it like a cage. My heart thundered in my chest, my breath came in sharp, ragged gasps, and I whispered a desperate prayer, my voice barely cutting through the wind's low, mocking moan. Answer me when I call, O God of my righteousness, you who have freed me from distress, whose mercy is my shield against the terrors that stalked me. As the words escaped my lips, a shrill, piercing scream tore through the forest, echoing with a haunting, unnatural resonance that seemed to multiply in the air. We're going to get you. We're going to get you. It was a woman's voice, but not human, her tone jagged, her words dripping with malice, as if her throat were a gateway to some unholy realm. I spun around, my eyes darting through the fog, and there she was, a figure barely visible in the mist, her body contorted at impossible angles, her face pale and twisted, eyes glowing like twin moons, her mouth splitting into an unnatural grin as she shrieked again. We're going to get you. The sound bounced off the trees, reverberating until it felt like a chorus of unseen tormentors surrounded me, their voices weaving a net of dread. I sensed unseen watchers, their eyes glowing faintly in the dark, not with warmth but with a chilling scrutiny, as if weighing my worth against the vastness of eternity. Sweat drenched my brow, my hands trembled, but I clung to faith, crying, God, hide me in the shadow of your wings. This wasn't just hope, it was a fire in my gut, a divine spark of righteousness that no shadow could extinguish, a certainty that God's order would prevail no matter what horrors lurked in the darkness. The grove pulsed with a sinister rhythm, the ground trembling as if the earth itself groaned under the weight of something unholy, its heartbeat a low, throbbing dirge that vibrated through my boots. Shadows didn't just move, they writhed, taking shapes that made my stomach churn, grotesque, fleshy forms with too many limbs, their surfaces glistening like diseased skin, their mouths gaping with needle-like teeth that chattered in a language of madness, their voices a cacophony of tortured whispers promising secrets no human should know. The possessed woman's scream pierced the air again. We're going to get you. Her voice now closer, her figure darting between the trees, her movements jerky and unnatural. as if her body were a puppet jerked by invisible strings, her limbs bending in ways that defied bone and sinew. I stumbled back, my foot catching on a gnarled root, and a new horror emerged from the fog, a creature with a humanoid body, its flesh peeling to reveal writhing worms beneath, its eyes hollow sockets, weeping black ichor that dripped onto the ground, hissing as it burned the earth, lunged at me, its claw grazing my arm, leaving a stinging cold that felt like death seeping into my veins. Lord, you are my strength, I shouted, my voice trembling but defiant, my faith a burning resolve that God's justice was not mere vengeance, but a restoration of order, a truth that could banish these abominations. The woman appeared again, her body now splitting open, revealing a pulsating core of flesh that throbbed like a heart, her scream echoing, "We're going to get you!" as tendrils erupted from her chest, lashing toward me. I ducked, my heart pounding, and clung to my faith, a light that cut through the dark like a blade forged in heaven, rendering those chittering, flesh-warped nightmares mere shadows of evil, their power crumbling before the fire of my belief. A vision struck me, sudden and disorienting, like waking in a nightmare where reality fractures and bends. The sky tore open with jagged lightning, revealing a city of gold that pulsed with an unsettling, predatory energy, its spires sharp and glinting like the teeth of a beast waiting to devour the heavens, their tips catching the light in a way that seemed to scream of both salvation and judgment. A promise roared in my mind, clear and unshakable. May the Lord answer you in the day of trouble. May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. I saw angels, their forms blazing with light so intense it burned my eyes, their wings crackling with fire that didn't consume but scorched the darkness, casting it back into the void. Their faces were hidden in blinding radiance, their swords gleaming with divine fury as they clashed with a horde of horrors, creatures with twisted, humanoid bodies, their splitting to reveal pulsating cores of writhing worms, their mouths screaming in unison with the woman's voice, "We're going to get you." One creature, its limbs bent backward like a broken marionette, scuttled toward me on spider-like legs, its mouth splitting open to reveal a second, smaller maw that shrieked with a sound like shattering glass, its claws slashing the air inches from my face. I fell back, my heart racing, my breath ragged, but I cried, "God, you are my fortress." Another twist came, a figure I thought was an angel turned, its face melting into a grotesque mask, its eyes hollow and weeping black, joining the horde of horrors. My faith wavered for a moment, but I clung to the name of God, a fortress unyielding against the storm. The ground quaked, trees splintering as if the earth were screaming, and I pictured mountains collapsing into a sea that churned with black, frothing waves, their foam taking the shape of clawing hands. But my faith held me firm, anchored by a truth stronger than the chaos, a light brighter than any nightmare, a divine order that no horror could shatter. The vision twisted again, and I staggered through a desolate wasteland, the air thick with the stench of ash and despair, the ground littered with bones that crunched underfoot like brittle twigs. A grim truth struck me like a blow. No one escapes death. We're all dust, our lives slipping into the grave's cold jaws. I saw shadows of the proud, the greedy, those who traded their souls for dark power, their forms dissolving into ash scattered by an unseen wind. But then he appeared, a figure radiant and terrifying, his face a storm of judgment and mercy, standing over a chasm that pulsed with screams, its edges lined with writhing, skeletal figures that clawed at the air. His voice was a thunderclap, shattering the silence, promising victory over the darkness. I saw him plunge into the abyss, exploding outward, shattering chains that bound those skeletal forms, their mouths gaping in silent agony. The possessed woman appeared again, her body now a writhing mass of tendrils, her scream, "We're going to get you," splitting the air as she lunged, her claws slashing my sleeve, tearing the fabric, and grazing my skin with an icy burn. I stumbled, my vision blurring, but I shouted, "Lord, you are my deliverer." Another horror emerged, a creature with no face, its head a writhing mass of fleshy tendrils that pulsed with a sickly light, its body lurching toward me as if drawn by my fear. My faith flickered like a candle in a storm, but I clung to the truth of the King, the Word made flesh, whose triumph wasn't just over death, but over the chaos that seeks to unravel creation. The struggle of light and dark raged around me, a cacophony of screams and clashing steel, but my faith screamed louder, a fire that burned eternal, a certainty that God's order would prevail, no matter how the horrors twisted and turned. The path grew darker, a suffocating tunnel where the air reeked of blood and decay, the walls pulsing like living flesh, their surfaces slick with an oily sheen that glistened in the dim light. My own sins took form, ghastly figures with my face, their eyes dripping black ink, their mouths whispering my failures in a chorus of guilt that echoed like a mocking chant. The woman's scream pierced the air again. "We're going to get you," as she emerged from the shadows, her body now a grotesque fusion of flesh and bone, her arms splitting into dozens of claw-tipped tendrils that lashed at me, grazing my skin with an icy pain that burned like frostbite. I fell to my knees, my vision swimming, and another twist came. The ground beneath me split open, revealing a pit where hands of shadow reached up, their fingers curling around my ankles, pulling me toward a void that pulsed with a heartbeat. "Oh God, save me by your name, and vindicate me by your strength," I shouted, my voice cracking but defiant, a cry that reverberated against the darkness. Faith surged within, a blazing light that drove the shadows back, dissolving them into wisps of smoke that screamed as they vanished. The woman's form collapsed, her body disintegrating into a pile of writhing worms that scattered into the dark, but her scream lingered, echoing. "We're going to get you." I saw a city in the distance, its gates guarded by towering beings with eyes like burning coals, their wings shimmering with a light that seemed to sing of divine order. My soul felt lighter, as if faith had cleansed it, lifting me toward God's presence, free from the horrors that clawed at me. I collapsed under a sky blazing with stars, each one a testament to God's mercy. "Bless the Lord, O my soul, who forgives all your sins, who heals all your wounds." The air buzzed with an eerie energy, beauty and horror intertwined, but faith kept me grounded, a rock against the tide of dread. God's promise, unbroken, despite my failures, warmed me, banishing the cold grip of despair like a fire in the heart of winter. Those terrors, the crawling, flesh-warped abominations, the possessed woman's relentless screams, only drove me closer to his truth, their threat meaningless against the power of my faith, a faith that burned brighter than their malice. The world, scarred and broken, was held together by God's hand, its beauty a reflection of his love, a living testament to his unending power. "Lord, you are my hope," I murmured, my voice steady now, my heart anchored in his truth. Dawn broke, the horizon erupting in a blaze of gold and crimson, burning away the night like a cleansing fire. I looked to the hills, my heart crying, "My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth." The struggle of light and dark played out in my mind, but faith assured me of victory. I stood on a cliff, the sea crashing below with a roar like a beast unleashed, and I sang, "Praise the Lord, O my soul." A final vision seized me, a new heaven and a new earth, the new Jerusalem descending from the heavens, its walls gleaming like polished crystal, its streets paved with gold that shimmered like liquid sunlight, its gates radiant with the glory of God. The city pulsed with life, its air free of fear, its light banishing every shadow. No horror could touch it. The faithful stood within, their faces aglow with eternal peace, their voices rising in a hymn of unending praise. My faith, tested by the horrors of the night, stood unshaken, a beacon that had guided me to this vision of divine triumph. I woke in the silent grove, the stars fading into the dawn's embrace. My journey was a testimony, a gauntlet of terror where faith proved stronger than the darkest nightmares, stronger than the possessed woman's screams, stronger than the writhing horrors that sought to claim me. God, my refuge, led me through the shadows, his light unyielding, his mercy boundless. I stand now a witness, my heart overflowing with praise, certain that no horror, no chittering, flesh-warped abomination, no echoing scream can sever me from him. He is the beginning and the end, the one who holds all things together, and in him I find my eternal peace.